Welcome to the program. This is Metal Robot Reviews.
Welcome to the Metal Robot Reviews channel. I'm your host, Tom McKay, and welcome back to, once again, the 10-second Purge. I know I promised at the beginning of this year that we'd be doing these a lot more often, probably monthly or bi-monthly, if that's even a thing, but obviously that didn't happen, and somehow it's because I somehow in these trying times did not find enough free time. But thankfully, because March rolled around and we had way more time than we were all expecting, I managed to actually get this task done. We had a lot of albums come out in the first quarter of 2020, so I figured it'd be a good chance to go through all of them, especially seeing as I guarantee there might not be enough albums to come out of the second quarter, which might make that video a lot shorter. That being said, we're still going to do this. Once again, much like the rules of last time, these are albums that are covered in 10 seconds or less, and if you want any further information, I'm going to link on the website, themetalrobot.com, to an actual article giving further detailed reviews. If that's up by this point, those usually take quite a bit of time to write up, especially when I have so many albums this time out. With that said, let's not waste much more time. Let's get straight into it. Dawn of Solace's Waves. Back from the dead with Sad Boy McGee, but now with a friend. Bleed the Skies, This Way Lies Madness. A metalcore album through and through, but it's one of the dirty, nasty good ones. The kind that makes you want to wash your hands after listening to it, which you should be doing anyways. Diabology's Nobody Believes Me. Is the vocalist going through puberty while doing vocal takes? Because it sounds like he's trying to not voice crack with every single syllable. Haunts Mind Freeze. Here's my impersonation of the lead vocalist. Can someone save them from ourselves? Alright, I'm done. Pay me, dickhead. Dragged Unders, The World Is In Your Way. You remember Retropose? Blessed Black's Beyond the Crimson Throne. If Black Sabbath meshed with a sludge metal band and their lead vocalist took their juice. Poppy's I Disagree. What the fuck are you? Vengeful Spectre's Self-Titled. A harsh wall of noise with great stories despite me not being able to understand or read Mandarin. Like Catafalque's Naive, another great band with great sound, but not a lick of English. I cannot understand a word these guys are saying. Mystic Prophecy's Metal Division, crushing heavy power metal. Great for traversing the mystic lands like the true orc that you are. FROGG's A Reptilian Dystopia. Music aside, that album cover has me very concerned for a multitude of different reasons, none of which I actually had the time to get into. Demons and Wizards 3. Yes! Code Orange's Underneath. Not as good as Forever, but fuck, this is killer. Idis's Primordial. I got nothing. It's like high school all over again, in one ear, out the other. Hyperia's Insanitorium. The album's great, but can we just take a moment to laugh at the fact that Google has these guys listed as an electronica dance band? Yeah, because that was the vibe I was getting from these guys, totally. Mark Morton's Ether. If you were hoping for another anesthetic, you're gonna be very disappointed, but the record still slaps and Howard Jones is an angel. The Amity Afflictions, Everyone Loves You Once You Leave Them. Thank fuck. I thought we lost you after Misery. Holy Corona, you scared the shit out of us. Necro Wretches, The Ones from Hell. It's exactly what you think it sounds like. Horned Almighty's To Fathom the Master's Grand Design. Like, come on. Look at the album cover and look at the band name. If you can hear either of those two, then you know whether this is for you or not. Sons of Apollo's 2020. Basically, Rush had a kid with Yes, and Yes cheated with Dream Theater, and then those two kids had a kid while listening to Pink Floyd, but then that kid had a one-night stand with Mr. Big, and that still doesn't tell you how prog this thing is. Annihilator's Ballistic Sadistic. Yeah, they still got it. Odious Motrum's Synesthesia. I don't know if I pronounced any of that correctly. Rage's Wings of Rage. Looking at the album art, it tells you everything about this sound, and it also tells you nothing about the sound. Don't look at me, I just review shit. British Lion's The Burning. I'll keep it real simple, okay? Crash Thompson was spot on with this one. I'm sorry, British Lion, but he was spot on. The Ultradex's Meridians. Son O, if they took speed during the writing process. Envy's The Fallen Crimson. Another healthy reminder to not trust the genre display from big corporations. Breaking Benjamin's Aurora. Creative bankruptcy, but with friends. Suicide Silence's Become the Hunter. How the fuck are they still around? I thought the career died out after the self-titled album, and how did they get so much better? Five Finger Death Punch's Fate. Getting slightly better, but come on, are you guys seriously telling me the best you can do is take an F and add a plus sign to it? Brothers of Metal's Amblas Saga. I was a little thrown off by the fact that a band called Brothers of Metal had a little less sausage than expected. Truth in advertising, but nevertheless, it was good. Polaris' generic Polaris album, I mean, the death of me, shit, fuck. Kilter's Axiom, metal, instrumental, jazz, fusion. If that doesn't sound awesome, I don't know what does. Unholy Desecration's Unholy Horde. Much like Horned Almighty, I refer you to listen to the album cover to find out if this is going to be your thing or not. Kirk Weinstein's Dream in Motion. You may not have noticed this, but the standard sludge metal voice that this guy has been setting is actually just him going, I've been doing this for 30 years. How? Raiders Guardian of the Fire, and he's guarding it by staying at home and washing his hands with fire water. That's not a real thing, but only to him. Nida de Mate's Immoto. The album cover looks like goo falling into place, meanwhile the music sounds like goo just falling. Ozzy Osbourne's Ordinary Man. Not the best possible swan song we could have gotten from him, but hey, I'm gonna end up framing the lyric, I'll make you defecate, just because I should. In This Moment's Mother. When in doubt, accidentally make a covers album. Igor's Spirituality and Distortion. The album you never wanted to admit gave you a hard on. Mostly because you still have no idea how the fuck that happened. Z-Manny's self-titled. The answer to the question, what happens when Harley-Davidson bars run out of some Motorhead to play? Warner Shore's Immortal. A lot harder to listen to when you find out why Immortal is the opposite description of the vocalist's time with the band. Into Pandemonium's Darkest Rise. What happens when deathcore and black metal have a love child and somehow doesn't suck? Lone Scar's Lust for the End. If Killswitch Engage had Rammstein levels of pyro fetish. Crusade's Judgment Day. Here's my impersonation of any music producer that decides to listen to this album. Why would they do that? No, the choices! Clint Lowery's God Bless the Renegades. Very catchy southern arena rock. Not something I would expect Screech at Me Daddy metal fans to go for, but I dug it. Emberian Dawn's Looking for You. What would happen if the guys who wrote Take On Me decided to venture into power metal? Lordy's Collection. This is the kind of music that you would expect to hear while walking into one of Till Lindemann's orgies that you know for a fact he has. Look at him, you know he has them. Molokin's Unveilance of Dark Matter. If this album is supposed to be an analogy of what dark matter is, then nailed it, no notes. Necrochaos's Crawling Through Cadavers. Ear-ripping death metal. Rated E for everyone. Someone's Helios. Did the last track have to be 9 minutes? Because half of it is literally just a recording from either your sex dungeon or your home planet. Delane's Apocalypse and Chill. Very much the mood of 2020 society. Also, this is pop metal for John Williams fans. Anvil's Legal at Last. This is basically a taunt to America at this point. And we love it for it. By the way, happy April 2020. Solace's Cycle of Suffering. It's okay. It's okay. Sepultura's Quadra. A bit skeptical after the last album, but pretty good, not bad. Now, Sepultura fans, if you're watching, please refrain from trying to strangle me for not suckling thine senpai. Diabology's Musica's Euphonic Entropy. It's epica, but for those who only listen to Renaissance music. Only Renaissance music. Reflections is Willow. Holy shit. Loathes, I Let It In and It Took Everything. You ever had that one friend who loves industrial music to a troubling degree and the neighbors do not want to be scared? Yeah, here's that compromise. My Dying Bride's The Ghost of Orion. I'm sure it's great, but in times like these where boredom is almost guaranteed, I only recommend small doses of Death Doom albums to prevent this. Invent Animate's Grave View, Paint by Numbers metalcore. If Warped Tour was still around, they'd be the headliner. This album is a Jared Alonji video rolled into music. Insert metalcore joke here. A Monolith's State of Being, the 3 Days Grace cover band that makes 3 Days Grace wet themselves. Get better. Get better. Bjerker's Folkesang. We went from blackened folk metal to folk. What a transition. Heaven Shall Burns of Truth and Sacrifice. That's great MTM, but can we just talk about the album art for a second? Like, yikes, that is dark no matter what backstory you attach to it. It's dark. Enzo and the Glory Ensembles in the Name of the World Spirit. This is some real holy shit. Body Count's Carnivore, once again proving the bass player can do a lot more than just playing with a ball of yarn in the corner. Death on Fire's Ghost Songs. It's 2 albums rolled into one. It's very lopsided, but hey, I'm sure most people will love at least half of the album. Lutharo's Wings of Agony. If Arch Enemy was Canadian. No, more Canadian. Nah, fuck it, let's just start an agonist cover band. Crematory's Unbroken. For this album, Rammstein is brought to you by Google Translate. Torches The Coven, teaching people how to float, and YouTubers how to get demonetized. Benevolent like Quietus's Kill the Bliss. Typo Negative and Lacuna Coil's Love Child. Congratulations! And this concludes the first quarter of 2020 for the 10-second purge. Do you think I missed any albums from the first quarter, or do you think I should cover certain albums in quarter 2? Let me know in the comments down below. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the mosh pit next time. Have a good night.